Hello again, everyone. It's the K-Man 1971 back again with my very first edition of Dollar Bin Binges from the Fringes. This was kind of like a comic book haul special that I'm trying to just throw out there, see how it works. And this is going to be videos that just like focus on the fun of collecting, basically. This will be like my standard comic book haul, starting off with current books and leading into the back issues. But as you can tell by the title, all of the back issues that will see in this video all come from the dollar bins. So, and also, there'll be a lot of comic book geek jibber jabber during this video because, as we all know, this was the weekend of San Diego Comic-Con. So, a lot to cover there. So, to kick it off, we have Batman number 51, B cover, well, variant cover by Carrie Andrews, and Justice League number 4, also the variant cover done by the great Jim Lee. Two great covers. I guess they're kind of cool on the aftermarket right now, but I love them, man. And sometimes it takes a while for these covers to take hold, and even not if they don't, I don't really care. So I'll take care of that. And let's just jump into the dollar issues to try to make this a quick video. So my criteria for dollar bin books is basically, I think, pretty much the same as anyone else. First and foremost, price, run fillers, first appearances, nostalgia, Bronze Age, cheap specs, and books. I also like to buy books that were once popular or hot and they've had a fall from grace, and now I can pick them up on the cheap. So with that being said, let's jump on into it. So here we have Batman Annual number 28, which is an Art Germ cover. Batman Grendel Ashcan, I guess. And I don't know if you remember, but I love cross-company crossovers, and especially when they have to deal with Batman. So, very cool. Arion, Lord of Atlantis, number 1, which features the first appearance of Arion. I used to own this as a kid. Move these out of the way. The Vampire Lestat, or Lestat, number 6. This would be an example of books that were hot back in the 1990s, and I've never actually read this, or I never read any of Anne Rice's original novels. But what I do know is that you couldn't throw a rock and not hit a goth girl that was not into this Vampire Lestat stuff back in the 1990s. So I dig horror, I dig vampires. I definitely did not dig Interview with a Vampire back in the day with Tom Cruise, but I'll still give it a whirl. And these were actually 60 cents because there was a sale going on at the comic book shop at the time. So here's number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So, there you go right there. Now, don't judge me, but for 60 cents, I also picked up at the same store Rob Liefeld's classic, Youngblood, number 1, the first appearance of Youngblood. Now, I didn't buy this for Netflix reasons or speculation. I actually bought this because people that were around at the time know this is actually the very first Image comic book published. So, sucker for comic book history, so for 60 cents, why not? And I guess that could be an example of a book that was once hot and is no longer the case. So, really happy to pick this up. I want to get the original, at least the original Astro City 6-issue miniseries that was put out by Image back in the 90s. So, and if I dig that, I'll start going into the sequential volumes that follow it. So here's number 2 and number 4. So I think I need like 3 more. Yeah, I need 3 more issues, and I can finally read that many. Marvel Holiday Special from 1993. Cool Art Adams cover. Not one of his best, but it's still pretty cool. I scoffed at this spec on when they were showing it on CBSI a little bit before the Infinity War because it had this. They were trying to spec on Thanos and Gamora child spec, I guess. I don't know why. And this does feature an out-of-continuity Thanos and Gamora Christmas story. I just don't see Thanos getting Gamora a Christmas tree in continuity. But I wouldn't have picked this up, but when I flipped through it, I realized that story was done by Jim Starlin. So I have a thing with Jim Starlin and Thanos, so for $1, why not? I also really dig picking up comic book adaptations from movies of my childhood. So Star Trek from the Marvel series 1 through 3 was an adaptation of Star Trek the Motion Picture, as you can see probably on the cover. So I already had issue number 1, so also picked up issue number 2 and number 3 to complete that arc out of the dollar bin. So that was pretty cool. Another run filler, Star Wars number 36. Nice condition, too. I always try to buy, I won't buy anything out of the dollar bin unless it's, fine plus to near mint condition, I guess. I guess that's my my range. Alpha Flight number 41, first appearance of the Purple Man's daughter. Another thing I like out of the dollar bins, getting cheap first appearances of abstract characters. So, pretty cool. Luke Cage, Power Man, number 41. I always like to pick up some Bronze Age when I can. And, the artwork, the interior artwork in this book is just horrendous. Oh, poor Luke Cage. I also like to pick up John Byrne's run of the Fantastic Four out of the dollar bins. So here's Fantastic Four, number 292. And I guess some of the news coming out of Comic-Con was there is a Deadpool extended trailer for the extended cut, a Blu-ray cut that's going to be released later on. And, spoiler alert if you haven't read this yet, but I guess Deadpool goes back in time and kills Hitler as a baby. So I was like, did they really have to do it when he was a baby, though? Couldn't they have killed him when he was, in art school and getting rejected from his art? That would have probably been a better time. But I don't know. I'm still going to check it out. So, Fantastic Four, number 292. 291, with this very cool Action Comics homage cover by John Byrne. 265, which is when She-Hulk joins the team after Secret Wars. 258, which is a lot of people regard this as one of the best Doctor Doom solo stories, and I would tend to agree. But then again, I probably would because I read this as a kid, so I'll have that positive bias towards it. Let's get these out of the way. Now, these next couple of books are the only books from the dollar bin that I would say that I got at a good deal. We have a lot of YouTubers here that just absolutely slay it in the dollar bins. Longshanks, Weapon X, Mercenaut, of course, and so many others. I remember the Doom pulling out one of those Venom Lethal Protector gold variants for $1. So, in the grand collecting pool that we all, I guess, collect in, those guys would be great sea bass. I am more of a guppy, but I am a proud guppy. So, here and there, I will pull out a book that will range from the $10, $15 range, but usually nothing as extreme as those guys get, which kudos to them, but still happy with what I pick up. So here's Fantastic Four, number 243, tough white cover, and look at this, you have the Fantastic Four, you have the Avengers, you have Doctor Strange all teaming up against Galactus. That would be pretty cool to top off Phase 4, wouldn't you say? So, nice book. Once again, you could probably pick this up maybe in a dollar bin, or it can run you all the way to, I don't know, 10, 15, sometimes in a high grade, even $20. This is a popular book during for old school fandom, and this was a high point of John Byrne's Fantastic Four run, which was incredibly popular back in the day. I picked up my second copy of West Coast Avengers number 46, which features the first appearance of the Great Lakes Avengers. Also picked up Dawn number 1 from Sirius Comics. I I was never into the whole bad girl craze in the 1990s, but I like Lisner's art. Or Linzer? I forget his name. Sorry. But I'm glad I picked it up in the dollar bin. Not my cup of tea, but it did feature some pretty cool art. I was happy to pick this up out of the dollar bin. X-Men Legacy number 214. First appearance of Miss Sinister. Here's a nice little spec book on the cheap. What If number 4. And now I know a lot of people have been showing off that Quasar issue. I forget what it is, but it shows like a venomized Thor on it. And on the cover it says that it states that Quasar is pretty much exploring the worlds of What If. So that venomized Thor is based on this story right here. If you ever want to go back to an issue where other Marvel heroes are venomized for the first time, this would be the one. So, pretty cool story too. So, if you see this on the cheap, I would definitely pick it up. Oh, and I guess this is also What If Volume 2, if I forgot to state that. Another cheap spec book on my part, but once again, another one of those that might find it in a dollar bin, or it might run you to between $10, $15, $20 again. The Invincible Iron Man, number 170, and this is when Rhodey finally becomes Iron Man for the first time. Now, I know there's a rumor that Riri Williams might be taking up is that her name? I think it is. The mantle of Iron Man in Phase 4 going forward. But I think this is also a chance of Rhodey taking over the mantle of Iron Man. That way they can have the Iron Man suit in future Avengers movies and keep the Iron Man franchise going without Tony Stark. And would actually add a little bit more diversity to the Avengers too. So why not? So, and even if it doesn't happen, very cool issue to have. And the last issue that I picked up, which I was pretty happy to, Nightwing number 1 from his first ongoing series. This is my second copy, and this one is also a newsstand copy also. So, for $1, why not? Big Batman family fan, been a Nightwing fan all the way dating back to the Teen Titans. So, and I guess that would be a good segue to cover a couple of bullet points from San Diego Comic-Con. I'll start off with a negative, and I'll end on a positive. Titans, I was really looking forward to that trailer, and I don't want to be too negative about it as of yet, but from what I've seen so far, I was not impressed. Not impressed at all. I mean, I guess a lot of people are hung up on the ethnicity of Starfire, which that's one of the things that I don't have a problem with, obviously. I can't see why people would. She's an alien, and who cares? But what I do have a problem with is the production value and Dick Grayson being very out of character. With that being said, two DC movies, upcoming DC movies that I was kind of being a bit of a Debbie Downer on were Aquaman and Shazam, and I have to say, I was impressed with both of those trailers. I might be back on board. I said all year I was going to see Aquaman. I think that trailer might have sold me. And finally, the rest in peace, the DC Extended Universe. It will now be referred to as the Worlds of DC, which I'm behind that, obviously. That's the direction they want to go in. If they want to have spin-offs and have different iterations of the characters that are featured in their multiverse, why not? As long as they kind of explain it to the audience what's going on. So, yeah, good week for collecting. Actually, this was couple of weeks of dollar bin bingers. I don't know when the next one of these books specials will come up, and probably next time I have like 20-something books from the dollar bins, which always has a tendency to happen. So I hope you all liked it. Have a great weekend. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, commenting as always, and yeah, take care. See ya.